In our recent episodes, I've been trying to convey to you the idea that in order to travel, you don't necessarily have to go somewhere far away. Because the trip from Kiev to Zhytomyr is already a journey. And now we're going to find out what's special about craft in Zhytomyr. I'm Yevhen Sinelnikov, and this is Craft Journeys.
I'm Yuri, I work with wood. Here the guys are making some kind of, this is a musical instrument. What it's called, I don't really know. Yeah, something like that. Oh, damn. Did you get how he plays?
And what else do you do?
These are my works. A little lamp, it lights up. There's a bulb inside that lights up. This was being prepared for an order in the States, but it was right before the war, so it never made it to the States. Children's toys, our boys made these simple things there for holding, for little pencils. And this is a master from Zhytomyr who makes these works. And when the boys want to learn, he can come and show them. He hasn't come, but he didn't show any desire to teach people for free, to show how to do it.
And how long ago did your love for wood begin?
In 2020, I was discharged from the army, and before that I was in the hospital in Puszcza. And there was a psychologist there. We were being treated for post-traumatic stress disorder there. He suggested getting involved in art therapy. I had a jigsaw, angle grinder, and drill at home, though I don't enjoy metalworking. I thought, well, why not give it a try? For New Year's, I made some wooden snowmen. I took what I bought at Aurora, like some cheap little garlands, and attached them. Someone bought it from me for 250 hryvnias. My neighbor bought it. She said, "Oh, I like it, let me buy it." And that's actually how it all started. Yeah, if someone bought it, that means I can make something. Let's try something else. And that's how one after another things started to happen. Some ideas started to come up. At first I was working at home. My wife almost killed me because of the dust. I had to do something, and to do something I needed some kind of workshop. Where should I make the workshop? Let me set it up in the basement. I made a workshop in the basement, and after half a year we had to take everything out. The guys helped out, chipped in some money. I basically bought all the equipment and started buying more and more. I now have two workshops, one here for the guys and one at home for my soul.
Tell us about this workshop. What is it and what is it for?
In 2021, there was information that a United Nations grant would be awarded. The City Council suggested applying for the $5,000 grant available for a few regions. He said, "You wanted a big workshop for the guys." He said, I want to make a workshop where the guys can come, do something, learn something, and relax. The project was a military souvenir, but no public organization existed then. The project itself was called Military Souvenir. Our project won. There are things here that are my own machines that I set up, and there are things that were bought with grant money. I got fixated not on carpentry products, but specifically on craft items. Because when the guys come, they start making something, and then when you work with your hands, your mind switches off.
100%?
The psychologists advise against carpentry, saying it's production-oriented, while craft allows for creativity. And they say then you'll be able to do something for the guys, they'll come up with something of their own, something there. Yes, because everyone sees something different in the same stump. The guys who come here start to try. In other words, we let them try something new. So they tried working with wood, and if they liked it, they continue to look for themselves in this direction. Somewhere materials or work or something else.
The guys are military, right?
So they are military invalids, veterans who have been through the war. Girls can be included too, but there are currently few. I had a list here before the war. There were supposed to be about 30 men coming, but then the war started. Almost everyone went back to fight. There's basically no one left here. That's why it's a bit hard to find guys now. I cooperate with the city council. They post in the Prozoro office. My information is always up there.
This is more a story not about craft, but about learning, about restoring psychological well-being.
Yes, and then it's just a craft direction. And the guys come and start doing something small to distract themselves, yes, and they do it. For example, I have some guys coming soon to make these little lanterns. They're very simple to use, but they allow you to have light at the front. This is for the front line. The production is very simple, very primitive. In fact, if you lift the lid, it doesn't light up.
If you close the lid, it lights up.
Those guys who came here, they can and want to help those who stayed there. Accordingly, we can do this, at least in this way.
Why do you need this?
That's an interesting question. In fact, it's so interesting that I'm asking myself the same thing, and it's far from the first time. Why the hell do I need this? I mean, I'm doing my own thing. I can do what I want. I don't need it. But I also went through the war. I came back from the war. And I know how to move on from the war. That's why I just want to help others take the same step I did, to move on from the war. It's a calling of the soul, a calling of the heart to help others get out of those states of post-traumatic stress disorder. So he came and he made this little phone stand for himself. He made it just for himself. He left happy because he has it.
Yes, he made it with his own hands.
He crafted it himself and proudly displays his phone on it, always claiming it as his own work. That's all. And he just made it. I have this kind of material. I can give people the opportunity to make it. Someone crafted an item for themselves, brought it home, and is happy to have it standing there. If there's no light, he turns it on. He's happy because it's his own work, not someone else's. Positive emotions yield positive effects for the future. Communication with each other here is also beneficial.
Well, in communication, probably with each other here.
The guys come here and keep to themselves. Let's be honest, the military talk
In military language.
inaccessible military language. There are no questions here about what language you want to express yourself in. Even if you want to do it from the 30th floor, go ahead. That's fine. That's normal. The only prohibition here, actually, there are two prohibitions. It's on alcohol and on politics. Politics are forbidden here, and any related discussions are immediately halted. Outside the gates, you're free to do as you please. Support whichever president you choose. First, second, third, fifth, or 10th.
And how do I get here? Sign up, a phone number, a contact? I understand that there is something like that somewhere.
People can contact me via phone or Facebook private messages. Find my page under Yuri Lisak, Wooden Products, or the public organization Military Souvenir Group. So if someone writes there, I don't hide my phone number, I make it available, no problem.
And these products, are they sold somewhere? Or for example, if I come make this lantern, can I take it with me? I made this cigarette case, I took it with me as my own work. Or is it sold somewhere?
According to the grant conditions, people who come here and learn something and have already made a finished product, it stays here. So I just have to show it as an exhibition piece. But everything else, it gets posted in their group on Facebook called Wooden Products. So today it's one of the most active groups in the Ukrainian Facebook community. That is 153,000 subscribers. 153,000 subscribers, that's like half of Zhytomyr. No, that's probably all of Zhytomyr. 153,083 people. I created this group 3 years ago, so that's over 3 years.
When the war ends and many soldiers return, I understand that you won't be able to accommodate everyone in such workshops, military souvenirs. What will Ukrainians need to do?
To begin with, this is primarily a question for the government. The government needs to start thinking about how to treat these guys. Because when we were applying for the grant, I suddenly came across a study, and it was exactly about this. The divorce rate is off the charts, and the percentage of people who can't return to normal life is also off the charts. It was a classified study, but I read it, and it made my hair stand on end.
We have to do something.
This country already needs to start training specialists who will learn how to work with these people in the future. And this needs to be done now, and I, for my part, will help the country in any way I can. Because I have to live here, my children have to live here, my grandchildren have to live here, and I just want to help in this situation so that my own children and grandchildren, when the war is over, so that they simply don't fall under the hot hand of those guys who will return with severe post-traumatic stress disorder who just have some issue in their heads. This is our relaxation room for rest. Here we relax, drink coffee, tea.
And you chat, right?
Yes, and we just chat about everything.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
This is Victor, our brother in arms, who is here studying, working, helping, and supporting me.
We are making a corner.
This is Vitya, his own collection of patches.
This isn't all of it yet. My collection since 2014 has 950 different pieces.
Wow.
And this is a piece. Since there were identical chevrons there, we decided to make a little corner.
Can I ask you this question too? Why do you need this?
This is needed so that people who need a break from the events that happened, so they can relieve stress and just relax and forget those memories they once had in their lives, whether it was at war or when they went to the combat zone.
You sit in this dugout, nothing is painted, nothing is done. Everything is done. The atmosphere is made to resemble combat conditions, both outside and here. We specifically created the full atmosphere so that when they return, it's like being at home. I'm in a trench, I'm in a dugout, I'm at home.
But they're not shooting. Nothing is flying around like in Georgia.
Actually, you just take these guys and create a new circle of communication for them. Come here, I'm cutting. Let's chat and have some tea while I work, but just a little bit, slowly.
Exactly. Here the guys, even when they come here, we can say, you don't have to do anything. You just come, sit down. We don't even cut the bushes just to create conditions for them like greenery.
So they can have cover.
In their own spaces, they feel at ease. The soldiers at the front lines and those back home are different. At the front, things are clear-cut. Enemy and friend are distinct. And there's the shoulder of a brother-in-arms or the shoulder of a so-called brother-in-arms. But here, everything is different. So you don't know whom to trust, who you can trust, and who you can't trust. When they come into this environment, we give them the opportunity to feel here like they're at the front. To trust, to share something, or just to be nearby. After 5 years in the military, you return from war a completely transformed individual. Before the war, I was a lawyer. I came back from the war with 25 years of legal experience. I came back from the war and I don't want to practice law anymore. Absolutely, I don't want to do it at all. Although I could go and work as a lawyer there, that's all.
Making money, 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 life passes by in pursuit of wealth.
And well, somewhere there it will be. The money will be spent on something anyway, be it useless or not. At this moment, I'm following my soul's true desire. I want to help others, I am helping, and I can do it, and I am doing it. How things will turn out in 5, 6, or 10 years, I don't know. If I come back, then those will be the circumstances for it. Maybe Ukraine will rise so much that...
Why? Maybe?
Well, yes, it will rise to such a level that the states will envy us when it comes to the rehabilitation of the guys. Now we use their programs, but maybe we will grow up and our specialists will create such programs that others will envy us for. That's why Vitya, that's why we actually fought so that something would change for the better in this country. Because once my great-grandmother used to say, we live poorly, God willing, may my children live. My mother said the same thing. I say the same thing to my children. But in fact, I'm already saying the same thing to my grandchildren. I already have 2 grandchildren. And I'm already telling them. I don't want them to say the same thing to their children. I want it to be so that everyone lives normally here. At least like in the Scandinavian countries where the highest level of life satisfaction is.
I'm Max, I make berry wines.
How long have you been making wine?
In September 2021, I got my license, so it's only been 2 years. Actually, I was preparing for this earlier, but officially making wine with a license started in September 2021.
And how did you decide? Why? I understand. My dad also makes moonshine. He makes this cider from apples. Well, that's for yourself. That's one thing, but turning it into a business is something completely different.
It happened naturally, the stars aligned. In short, I've been into winemaking since childhood, having grown up around those bottles.
Since I was 13, I started sneaking my grandpa's wine from the cellar and sharing it with all my friends, you know.
I've lived my entire life with wine, but interestingly, I tried dry wine for the first time when I was about 25. Before that, I always drank only my grandfather's wine. He made sweet berry wines, and I just didn't need anything else. I fell in love with that wine, and that's just how it happened. Then at some point, I started searching for myself and looking for some new businesses because the business I was involved in had burned out. It wasn't enough for me. And around 2017, I started thinking about wine.
I also have friends who are into brewing. They were like a reference point for me.
I really liked this direction. But I understood that it was unrealistic to get a license because you have to pay 500,000 hryvnias a year. Tradition cancellation. They will simplify obtaining a license for winemakers. Small winemakers are appearing. I told myself clearly I want this. And I started in 2018. I spent 3 years saving up some finances, thinking strategically about something on my own level.
And where did you get the recipe?
Grandfather. All my roots are from my grandfather. This is an absolutely true story.
So that's why your grandfather is so cheerful?
Of course. Listen, guys, this is a really true story. I love my grandfather. He was my backbone, my authority. I grew up among bottles at the Dhaka. Well, I knew the recipe there, how much he added of what, when he poured, when he transferred. I just took my grandfather's recipe from the glass bottle and adapted it to a larger capacity, like 600 liters.
With more, it's just, yes, about the volume.
Yes, with a larger volume, and that's it, and it worked out for me. You constantly walk by people by the red Rowan tree and think that it's food for bullfinches and all sorts of other birds. But no, in the middle of October, the Rowan berries become edible. Even this red Rowan berry, it becomes sweet and tart. And if you pick it in time, soak it properly, squeeze out the juice, and then ferment it, you get a very, very tasty wine, which you can later blend with different wines. That's what I do. For example, here's wine by Coney Vinny, Rowan berry. This is a blend of my basic white wine made from apples and pears, plus Rowan berry. I love it with ice.
Well said. You make it with this Rowan berry, right?
Actually, it was really my experiment. I have a book, a very, very old one from the last century. And there are some very strange recipes with different berries described there. I took a recipe from there for making wine from red Rowan berries. And specifically in this wine, the juice is preserved from this very tree that grows in my yard. The one that has been cut down about 10 times, the one I wanted to uproot and plant something else here. But no, I will keep it until it dies on its own. Because it gives me delicious Rowan berries, and I will make wine from it.
So you have more currants, right? Usually when you go into a winery, right? Grapes, 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 grapes.
I hardly ever work with grapes at all. I'm just now making my first attempts with grapes. I've decided for myself that for now I'm going to work with berries. My grandfather taught me to work with berries. He always worked with berries. I mean, not with grapes. That's why I produce berry wines, and I will continue to produce them. And I hope I will continue to grow in berry wines in this direction.
Man, I really want to try it, to be honest. I keep walking around thinking, how can I hint at it?
I have some really, really exclusive stuff. Let's go. If you really think about it, well, animals, well, they're not to blame for anything at all, but... And he says, you're fooling the people. Actually, the horses shouldn't be blamed either. You know, right? Kochubinski's horse.
Yes, about the money. 700 hryvnias for the license.
How much do you need to invest to... How expensive is it to get into this business?
It really depends on the person who is starting this business. There are people who are used to paying someone to do things for them. There are people who do everything they can themselves and save money this way. I am exactly that kind of person. I save on everything just to earn at least something. Because it's very hard to make a living with the kind of product I produce. It might seem like, you know, a license, a small winemaker, a cool guy and all that. But all of this is very difficult, it's very expensive. Even just take the fact that all my red wines, according to my technology, stand for 2 years before bottling. That is, they have to be aged for 2 years. A small workshop like mine, I don't know, can be equipped for about $1,020 to $30.
That's specifically for production equipment, right?
For example, this little thing, it seems small and simple, but it costs 7,000 euros just like that.
And what is this?
This is a pasteurizer. It's a flow-through pasteurizer.
You must always keep developing. Once you get on this track, as they say, you constantly want more and more. Because you realize that here you're not perfect, there you're not perfect, and here you want to be even better.
Which you only start to understand when you begin to do this.
Coconut.
Coconut is my latest invention. I came up with coconut. How did it happen? I had a quiet cider apple wine, strong. And there was apple juice. It was some kind of party there, a home party. And in one glass, in one cup, there was wine, and in the other cup, there was juice. And while cleaning up, I did like this, and then I was walking around and drank it. I was like, wait, this is tasty. I drank some more, it was tasty. Then I started mixing. And in the end, I made myself a batch of quiet wine cocktails, called them coconut. Why coconut? It's a natural cocktail. You know, I'm Petnat, and I have coconut.
It just smells exactly like apple juice.
Apple juice, yeah.
I'll take out your trash since he's driving.
It's a tasting, friends. Go ahead. Apple juice.
You can't taste any alcohol.
It has a strong taste. Here are 6 and 9. How do they make it in bars? This is already a ready-made cocktail. They pour it into a cocktail glass, add some ice, throw in a bunch of mint leaves, an apple slice, and some other thing with a straw, serve it with an umbrella, and ooh, 300 hryvnias. 300 hryvnias, yes.
Very tasty. Really smooth.
Maybe I would add a little less sugar, just a bit.
Awesome. A lady's cocktail. It's not too strong, not too sour, and not too sweet. Just a perfect balance in everything. I really like it, even for myself.
Great, I'm glad to hear that.
Damn, you could just drink this straight up.
But that's a tricky thing too, you know?
Listen, as I understand it, you're always experimenting.
Where does what didn't work out go?
There hasn't been anything that completely didn't work out yet. If something really doesn't work out, I don't put it up for sale. For example, look, this wine.
Yeah.
The barrels are wine barrels, but I was pouring them. There were 3 barrels like these. I would open a barrel there at some point and take a little from it and taste it. And these 2 barrels that I opened and closed, oxygen still got in there. It's inevitable, and it changed a little, just a bit. Something in it changed. We can open one of these bottles there, but I won't put these bottles up for sale.
So all these bottles? The number of small wineries is growing and the amount of Ukrainian wine is increasing.
Is the consumer growing? Are their tastes developing?
Probably yes. Consumers vary and cities are large. Kyiv is definitely expanding. People in Kyiv no longer drink sweet wines. Everyone likes dry wines, everyone likes dry ciders. Everyone looks at the back label to see what they're drinking. They're interested in what additives and ingredients are in these wines. That is, they make a selection for themselves of what they consume. So these are conscious people. Those who consciously consume alcoholic beverages, that's what maturity is. They consciously consume alcoholic beverages, I think. People who don't think about what they're consuming. Those people who just want to have a drink, it doesn't matter to them what they drink.
Where can people find you? Where do you sell your products?
My main client is the Wine Time store chain. In Wine Time, basically, my wines are available all over Ukraine. And the whole range is available, including cocktails, white and red wines. That's actually my main buyer of my wine. Small shops in Zhytomyr sell my wines, and a few restaurants in Zhytomyr do as well. Among the chains, the Balovana Halia restaurant chain, which currently has 9 operating restaurants across Ukraine. Actually, there is a website on the internet, Didas Vine. They're using a very simple process through Fondi. You can pay and arrange delivery for yourself. I tried to do this pretty quickly. For example, this morning I received 2 orders and they're already on their way. Day by day I try to send them out. I just advise you people, go to the store, go to the wine shop where Ukrainian wines are displayed and buy them, taste them, try them. They are really, really delicious. Don't believe those who say Ukrainian wine is low quality. That's just not true. Believe me, Ukrainian wines are wines with soul. These are our local wines. Buy them, support Ukrainian producers. You don't have to support me. Buy Leleka wine, buy Formushika, buy Bilavorona. Just buy Ukrainian and enjoy.
I am Carolina. I'm making pastila.
It smells delicious.
Homemade, right?
Yes.
Are you making them from those, the homemade ones?
Well, yes. Now, while it's the season, yes. I make them homemade.
And is there a difference depending on the variety?
Yes. You need to use sweet varieties of apples so that the pastilla turns out sweet and tasty. I use sweet varieties because, as a rule, it's little kids who usually try it, and you want to please them, as they say.
And how did the idea to make pastilla come about in the first place?
While I was on maternity leave, my older daughter...
Kids, right?
Yes, my older daughter was about 5 years old at that time, just like Romy, who was about 6 months old. She didn't want to eat any berries at all. Well, it's just... We even grew strawberries, even berries, and she still didn't want to eat them. And one day I was just sitting on the internet scrolling through my feed and I thought, oh, what is this? And my first fruit leather was made in the oven since I didn't have any of those dehydrators. I was sitting, Googling, searching, there was so much different information and I tried to cook it. It was exactly in the fruit leather that my child ate the berries I wanted her to eat. That's how the idea came up.
In general, what do you need to make delicious fruit leather? How is it made? We take apples.
Yes, we take apples and usually maybe gloves as well.
Let's do it so that nothing gets spoiled.
Usually you don't need a lot of ingredients for pastilla because the fewer ingredients there are, the healthier it is. So sometimes people add honey and so on, but usually honey causes allergies and I don't add honey.
All right, let's take a look.
Let's do it. I have some juicers, apples. Let's peel the skin.
This is like baby food puree made for kids, but it's...
Yes. Without any skins, sugar, preservatives, or any colorings, nothing like that is added. I add apples so that pectin is released. I cook it a little, and it acts as a thickener for the fruit leather. That's why the fruit leather turns out so elastic and smooth.
Wait, so any fruit leather is made from apples, right? It's apples, and then you add this, that, or something else.
Yes, all my fruit leather is based on apple puree.
That's the secret.
Yes. Over the course of 3 years, almost 3 years, I came up with 48 flavors of fruit leather.
Can you say that the business is growing and bringing in money?
The business is growing due to my efforts in developing it. I advertise, I invest money, I buy ads from bloggers. But I like it, I don't know. I get satisfaction from it. Now you'll see how the mashed potatoes will spread across the bottom. Maybe you'll understand me, how satisfying it is. Next, we boil them.
I would already eat it just like that. Are you squeezing the juice?
No, I simmer the apples over low heat. That's how the homemade apples turn out. They fall apart a little bit. If they were store-bought, they would hold their shape a bit more. But you don't need many of them.
Uh-huh.
A couple of minutes and they're already kind of...
It's not like you have to cook them, right? You just need to...
No, just a little. So that the pectin we need is released and that's it.
Dimorchka, come here, take off the pectin.
Then all of this is mixed with the berries using a blender, blend it together, and everything is nicely poured into the trays.
Does it need to cook for 10 hours? 1.
10 to 11 hours to dry in a dehydrator. They're also very expensive. The first year you could say I was practicing on my own. I don't count that because it was just like friends were eating it, everyone was eating it, except I didn't. Some people actually started little by little, like try it, try it. I understood that mine was still a bit too firm. Not all the flavors were coming out because I was adding them gradually. Well, I tried something there and it turns out I can let people try it too. Then it gradually started to work out. Yeah, let them try it. Let people write me some feedback so I can understand if I'm going in the right direction, if I'm doing everything right. How did it turn into a craft for you? I have 2 friends who make cakes. I guess they also pushed me a little toward this. It's the kind of business, you know, like you eat it and maybe in a week you want to come back and eat it again. Because before that, I was working with shoes. I sold shoes through drop shipping. So what? You buy shoes for the winter, right? You might come back next winter, or maybe you won't come back next winter. If you wear them for a couple of years. And I needed something universal and interesting so I could sell it and sell it again and sell it again. It's delicious. People come, I understand that they order more, they come back again. I think, why not? Decorating is boring and I want to do something else to keep earning.
What's more important, advertising, marketing, promotion, or quality?
No, of course, quality. First and foremost, quality. I need the person to come back to me to try it and come back again. So that I can keep this person with me for a long time. I have some who have been ordering for a couple of years already, and some go abroad. So the fruit leather goes abroad and they take 3 or 4 kilograms of it.
It spoils, it lasts for a month, 2, or...
No, if you make it correctly, if you dry it properly, it can last for a year. The longer it sits, the tastier it gets, but it doesn't last long with me.
Make a commercial announcement so that people buy pastilla specifically from you. And why should they choose your pastilla?
Because mine is simply high quality and delicious. I have a very large selection of pastilla, 48 flavors, and you can try them all in one box. Because I have a tasting box where you can find all the flavors of pastilla. The person who orders then comes back and chooses, you could say, their favorite. It doesn't mean you have to love all 48 flavors, but you choose your specific favorite and then you order more of that one.
Did you hear that? Try it.
Can I try it?
It's worth trying.
Here it is, 48, wow.
And here, I think if you pack it like this, it's very convenient. You just take one, open it, and there are so many different flavors. It's really convenient to give to kids for school. You just throw it in your bag and go. I also give them to Darina in these little packets.
And which one is the best? Which one should I try?
The classic ones. I just have classic flavors. As for the best, I don't know, you can choose. Well, they don't really like cinnamon in mulled wine. It's a bit much. The kids don't really want it. It's mainly moms who drink mulled wine.
Well, yeah. Mulled wine, and it's just left there, right?
No, there's no alcohol in it. It's just apple, cinnamon, orange, grape, and a bit of clove.
Cherry plum and carrot.
I also make it with homemade cherry plum. It's not just any cherry plum, the tiny kind that grows on a tree. We have a beautiful blue one growing in our village. You can also go to the page and take a look. Oh, this one has nuts in it, yes. With chia seeds. Oh, it actually has such a creamy taste. There's yogurt in it, and they use dairy products. Also without any sugars or preservatives.
Can I try it?
Yes, of course.
If someone gets 37 packs, don't be offended. I ate one.
This is yogurt with blackcurrant flavor.
It smells like this.
There's banana, berry, oatmeal, nut, oatmeal.
It's not homogeneous, how to explain it. You start eating pastilla, classic pastilla, then there's some kind of yogurt flavor, and after that, nuts.
Well, it's really filling, isn't it?
It's really tasty.
Yes.
It's really tasty. Can I try the coffee?
I thought it would taste just like coffee, bitter and all. Just a little bit, just a little.
I literally added some apples with nuts just a couple of weeks ago. It's not just about the excellent fruit leather, though.
Are these dried apples with nuts like that?
Yes, these are fruit chips. I make assorted packs like this, 100 grams each, and this one is top-notch.
Wow.
It's really tasty. It's almost like a cookie, actually.
Shortbread.
These are nuts, right, on top?
There are 3 types of nuts: cashews, hazelnuts, and almonds. Honey is also mentioned.
It's sweet and the cookie is really crunchy. I'll be honest, I actually like this even more than the pastilla.
Yeah, my husband says that I'm finally starting to do something useful.
And where do you sell it? The main thing is online, right?
Yes, on the internet. Yes, on Instagram. Really got my Instagram page.
And how much does it cost? A tester like this?
A 350-gram box of pastilla costs 510 hryvnias.
It's inexpensive. There's plenty of it here. Really a lot. Just dig, 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 and in the window. What are the plans next? Will there be a cake made of pastilla? Or maybe some...
No, I want to try making vegetable pastilla next. I want to do it, but it doesn't work out for me. But I won't give up. I want to try pumpkin. I want to try it with cheese.
Pastilla with cheese?
Yes, I want it to be like pizza, something like that. I'll also add some viburnum berries. I have viburnum growing in my village. I'll pick some and add them. There will be 49 flavors.
It turned out great.
Yeah, nice plot.
Listen, do we have time to eat?
Well, as always, there's never enough time.
Maybe we can grab a hot dog somewhere.
Yeah, we can get a hot dog.
Yeah. Well, that's it. We don't have to go to the gas station. Look for one somewhere because the best hot dogs are only at the gas station. Why?
Mr. Grill is now sold everywhere, in coffee shops and small stores. Let's go find one.
Well, let's go, since you say so.
And you keep saying to the gas station, to the gas station.
Really, it's tasty, just like at the gas station.
Listen, maybe I should put a hot dog in the coffee maker too? Go ahead, of course.
Go ahead, of course.
I need to think about it.
And I'll get a discount.
You'll always get a free hot dog. Let's go shoot.
Already during filming, we learned about the beekeepers who live in the forests of Zhytomyr region.
We had to go quite far, but spoiler alert, it was worth it.
I'm Roman. I'm a beekeeper.
They say you have the best honey. What's the difference between your honey and regular honey?
The difference is that it's far from industrial centers, far from roads, and here there are natural honey plants. There aren't honey plants here like sown sunflowers, saffron, and things like that. Spring begins, and in our forest grows something called chornogolov, a tall grass that grows in the swamps. The bees are already starting to gather from it. Further around, we already had a clean area. This is Policia, so the willow will start to bloom, and a lot of bees gather there. It's an indescribable beauty. When the willows finish blooming, then the meadows start. The dandelion starts to bloom, then different kinds of clover, especially white clover. There's this thing that starts blooming already in May. In May, a kind of bush, Krushina. And there are a lot of signs and so on connected with Krushina. When Krushina blooms, the swarms start to come out. For people, it's children, and for bees, it's swarms. Do you understand or not? Yes, it's the multiplication of bees. And from Krushina, bees bring a lot of useful, good honey. You can also get a little honey from the orchards. And in the fall, we have heather blooming, such a kind of heathland.
The main thing is that they eat different herbs. That's the first point.
The second point is that there's no industry, no big cities, and here they have places to fly to find something to eat, to find something real.
Since this isn't a hive, is the honey produced here any different, or is it the same as hive honey?
The honey is the same. Whether it's in a frame hive or in this kind of hive, it's the same. The difference between frame hives and log hives. In log hives, the bees build the honeycomb themselves from the top and downward.
Is honeycomb the same as these cells?
Yes.
And with frame hives, a person goes to the store, buys a sheet of honeycomb foundation, attaches it to the frame, and puts it in there. And there only God knows what's in that foundation. One person treated it with these antibiotics, another with other ones, and a third with tetracyclines against foul brood and all sorts of bacteria. But here, there's nothing like that. Everything is real, everything is natural. We have ground-based hives. You can see them on the ground. And there are also hives that are hung on trees throughout the forest. And this whole territory, all the forests up to Belarus and Minsk, it was all covered with hives. You can believe me, I know this.
I believe you 100%.
And now we just have fragments of the old, and if it weren't for martial law, and if we walked here through the forest, we would see how many beehives there are.
Honestly, I've only seen it in a museum, the beehive, but to see it actually working.
This is a museum, and do you know why? This beehive, the one behind my bearded colleague, is about 200 years old.
Oh, can I take a look?
Beehives can be crafted from various woods. Historically, locals favored pine due to the abundance of pine forests in the area. Oak and aspen are also used to construct beehives. And here we have a lot of old ashwood ones. This one belonged to my great-great-great-grandfather, Maxim Ulik. It's definitely 200 years old, and these all belong to my great-grandfather, Rowan. That was his name. Here we have ashwood ones and all kinds. This Ulik, it wasn't cut with a saw, it was chopped with an axe.
This one, right?
Yes, you know, when you chop a tree with an axe.
So, this is cut with an axe, right?
Yes, chopped off with an axe. The essential tool for a beekeeper, tool number one, is the axe.
And we don't need to put on any protection, as long as they don't bite, right?
There are no bees here. In order to open the hive, first of all, you need to open the cover. It's a kind of board that covers the window and the long side. Then using a small axe, we open the long side and take what we need from there. It was a placed wax bait.
You mean a bait? So it's for them to have somewhere to settle first, right?
Yes, so they already know that this is a hive here. That's how it's done. Once, my great-great-grandfather Maxim did this. He carried it on his shoulders and made it. That's why it's called like this here. That's what this place is. And he carried this out, cut down oaks, drove them in. And every time I touch this, I feel the strength of my ancestors. All of this could have been taken out. We've already dug it up. It could have been cut up for firewood several times, but still, we leave it here. It's all the same with these hives, but according to folk beliefs, besides bees, other inhabitants also settle in the Borscht, as they say. Wasps can also settle here, hornets can settle here, and phyllanx can settle here too. So this year, in one family, in one hive, phyllanx also settled with us. Now we will see their nest. Well, according to folk belief, if a guest settles in an empty hive, it means something. If the hives are open, sometimes martins, squirrels, or birds settle in them. But according to the belief, it should be bees living there. They take a liking to this place and fly here to this hive.
And you make a hive, set it up, and wait for them to come?
Yes, there are two options. You can catch a swarm and pour it in here.
Excuse me, but how is that done? How do you catch it? Do you run around with a net, or how does it happen?
There's a tool for that. And the second option is that you set up the hive, rub it with some really fragrant plants, which we'll talk about.
So that it's tasty for them and they want it.
You put in the wax foundation, spray the hive with syrup, which is called tea vorba. The buckthorn is blooming, and during swarming season, you must definitely treat all the hives. This is my father, always with that bottle. He didn't drink anything, but the bottle was there. And he just sprayed with it, that's all. And this year, Finns settled here. They already brought them out and left them. We take an axe, pull out the handle, and look at the nest. They pull it over here, and we'll wait for a new family, God willing. Now we close it, let them stay until spring. But we'll open it again, because I want to ask you something. There are 12 hives here, and each one will close up its own hive. I broke off some willow branches there and gathered some melissa, some herbs. Everyone will put it in, everyone will close it up, and we'll see who has the best luck. Word of a nobleman, if the bees settle all the honey, I will find you. I'll send it by Nova Posta again. Where to?
It's fine. With pleasure. And now there are no bees here. Did they fly away?
In my opinion, according to the beliefs of our people, as people here believe and say, if the owner was at home and someone from the household dies in the house, then something from the household always goes after them. They were in this hive, they were there too, and they were under the pear tree. My mother died and the bees went after her. But we hope with your help that they will return. One family has come back, and that's a very good sign.
And how many of these fighters do you have in total?
There are 13 here, and somewhere around 30 more in the forest.
And about 30 more in the forest? And they're with the bees there, right?
Some are with bees, some are without bees, all kinds.
This is where the cuts are collected, correct?
Yes, yes. You climb the tree, take a rope with you, and then pull this box up. In the box, there must be a hatchet, this little crowbar, and this tool for cutting. Or the tools.
And what's the point of climbing a tree? Is it because of animals?
Well, all the bees used to live in these hollows before, and they settle better up there. Now, herbs for bait. This herb is called Melissa. Take it, rub it between your fingers, and smell it.
Ah, it's already like that.
And this herb is called Bagon, and I made these bags. They used to take such swarmers. It had a net on one side, and on the other side, a piece of fabric was tied on. Here we have these dippers made from birch bark. For example, when a swarm is sitting, you use the dipper to collect them. The bees fall in here, and you pour them in here. Collect them here, pour them in, and then you must find the queen. Because if you pour the bees into the hive, they might come out onto the branch and escape. And the queen is placed in a special queen cell. You see, they make these little holes, and then they put her in there, push her in like this, and place it in the hive. As they say, it's a test of luck.
I'm ready.
So put the sprig of Melissa in. You don't need to crush it or anything, just like that, okay?
You don't need to crush it or anything, just like that, okay?
Right? Add a sprig of bog myrtle and pour boiling water over it. Unscrew it, take some in your mouth, in my mouth, yes, and... Oh yeah, damn, it works on the first try.
But that's honey.
Yeah, honey, it's aged honey, Melissa, and Bagos. Music, well, go ahead, now it's your turn. Oh, that's just a fly, damn. I walk through the forest, I breed little bees, generous evening, give a good evening. Settle little swarms on our hives, generous evening, give a good evening. Carry honey, our little bees.
Oh, there are more than two here.
You see, they place them both vertically like this and also lay these hives on their sides.
And how do they stay in place? Do they nail them with some kind of brackets?
Well, yes, metal brackets are nailed in, and that's it. Everywhere you see the bees are flying. Adamovic creates more of them on the spot. Generous evening, give us a good evening. Generous evening, give us a good evening. The bees are very aggressive.
There's an abundance of honey, propolis, and everything else there.
Yes, they sealed it up really well.
Beehives are easier, right? Of course they're easier.
It's just easier to put it here. All of this, the beehive is much lighter. Why do you keep doing it this way?
I also have beehives and apiary, but still I prefer this way.
For real, right?
No, when you look at 200-year-old hives, the thick ones, you think about what it was like, how it used to live. Is there a chainsaw now, the one I cut with? I cut it up, chopped it on the second one, and once they started fighting. That's a memory. If it weren't for those beehives, we wouldn't have even met. And we wouldn't have poured that into the hive for luck. We'll find the spots with holes and let the smoke in. We need our bees to settle on the honey. We put the plank on top. Well, that's it. Now we take the benefit and start cutting the honey. We just need a container and somewhere to cut it. We need to push it in a little. What, so they don't get cocky?
And tell me honestly, if we're talking about business, can you actually make money from this?
You can make money on anything. Here for people, 1,000, 2,000, 5, 10, that's money, that's natural, it's not factory made.
A factory made thing, yes.
Eat this, guys.
This is still edible, right?
That's all.
Oh, it's even dripping. Tasty. As soon as I said tasty, Musa is already eating.
It's still even warm.
It's not too sweet. It's very tasty and doesn't have any weird sugar.
Yeah.
Very tasty. There are actually little honeycombs in these factory-made ones and a lot of cream.
When you arrive, you just take the honey here and it flows right into your mouth.
I'm Ole. I'm a hemp grower from Zhytomyr.
I've known Ole for a long time, since the days of Home is Better.
He is well known far beyond Zhytomyr.
And even Yushchenko bought his hemp shoes at the Sorochinsky fair.
But today it seems something new awaits us.
Ladies and gentlemen, and now a song about borscht.
And today, friends, I will treat you to a wonderful delicacy, hemp borscht, so delicious you won't even let go of your spoons, serving you like a real chef. I planted some little hemp seeds. There will be a pot of borscht and also some flatbreads and potato pancakes and even little hemp cakes on the table.
Wait, is this really borscht with hemp?
Well, really, why is it forbidden? Hemp is a technical crop that is very valuable as a food product for the textile industry, as well as for construction, medicine, and so on.
And culinary, now I see, right?
Well, yes, since ancient times, people have used hemp seeds, oil, and food. It was the #1 product.
Well, it's still quite popular now.
Actually, not the #1 product, but the #1 plant, because ropes, clothes, all textiles, everything was made from the strong fibers of Conoplia. And the seeds, as my grandfathers told me, for them the best treat was Conoplia seeds. They waited for the Conoplia to ripen, ran into the Conoplia fields, shook them, and ate the seeds. For them, it was better than candy.
What a life that was. This hemp is industrial and not illegal cannabis, correct?
Industrial, yes.
So there's no tetrahydrocannabinol or cannabidiol in this?
No, there isn't. These are technical varieties that were developed by our Lukhiv scientists and breeders. For the first time in the world, Ukrainians bred non-narcotic hemp and brought it back into everyday use.
So, non-narcotic hemp is a Ukrainian invention? Yes. Oh, that's cool.
Can I pour it?
Yes, I want to try it.
And this borscht is lean, it doesn't have any meat. I don't eat meat myself, but hemp is a superfood. They have so many nutrients that you don't even need meat. There's also hemp oil here, which also has a lot of nutrients. Omega-3, omega-6, and omega-9 are balanced. That's actually very rare, but in this borscht, they are present.
Wow. So are you just this cheerful in life, is that right?
Yes, well, borscht helps us because it charges us with natural energy. It's not like some kind of buzz. Well, it's the buzz from life, from joy.
Is this some kind of old recipe or what? Borscht with hemp? Well, really.
It's not an old recipe, it's my own original recipe. Well, you know, I've been working with hemp for a long time, about 20 years. At first, it was footwear and clothing products, but over time, I started to look at hemp more as a food product, because why ignore it when it has so many useful and valuable properties? Even in ancient times, when there were no formulas for newborn babies, they were fed with hemp milk. They would crush the seeds in a mortar or a bowl add some water, rinse them, strain the mixture, and what came out was a white milk, which they called hemp milk, so that it would give as much strength as a bull has.
I already want to try it, can I?
Yes.
Well, I've already eaten so many borschts in my life, but this will be the first time trying hemp borscht. I see potatoes and hemp here. Yes. No onions, no carrots, no beets, nothing at all, but you don't need anything else. Well, I'll try. Author's borscht recipe. We are against drugs. But borscht is the kind of drug you can eat.
To me, it actually tastes more like fish soup because it has hemp seeds and hemp oil in it. Maybe there are some similarities in taste, but there definitely isn't any fish in it.
It's already tasty. Really unusual, actually. It doesn't taste like anything else. It's a bit sweet.
Hemp seeds, I told you kids used to eat them instead of candy because it was oily, slightly sweet with its own specific taste. That's what gives it that slightly sweet taste.
How often do you cook this kind of borscht?
Once a month.
Interesting, very interesting. Are you sure you won't add it? So this is the seed floating, right? This little thing, that's the seed.
Groats are clean seeds without the shell.
And why don't you eat it yourself?
Well,
Klopotenko, Yevon, have you ever seen anything like this?
Sour cream to taste if you want.
No, it ruins the taste of borscht. And you shouldn't spoil a taste like this at all. You know, there's green borscht, the one that's made with sorrel. So now, for me, that's sorrel soup. And green borscht is something like this. Green-colored borscht. And what is this, then?
Cookies.
I can see that. Is it the same?
Also cannabis.
Well, can you eat this too?
You need to.
And nothing will happen?
Nothing.
New delicious craft. Cookies.
With hemp, there is oatmeal cookies. It has its own oatmeal taste. Corn cookies.
An oily, interesting, and unusual taste. Here, I think there's also no sugar, nothing. It's...
There, just a little. There's a little, but I also make it without sugar, with salt, salty. This time I made only sweet ones, but with very little sugar.
Listen, please tell me the recipe for this borscht. How many seeds do you need?
Actually, I go by my own taste. I like it when there's more hemp seed. I add more. There are exactly 4 liters and 100 grams of shelled seeds here.
That's probably a cup.
That's why it gains this nutritional value and taste. And I also add hemp oil separately. And it's the oil that gives it that fatty.
It gives that richness. I understand for you it's just food. For me it's really unusual.
That's exactly what I wanted to achieve, so that the hemp borscht wouldn't be like anything else. Because hemp has its own taste, its own smell, and its own benefits. And I specifically avoided such common products, well, except for potatoes.
And where do you get this hemp? They grow it here. Ukrainians grow non-narcotic hemp. And so you just went to the market, bought some hemp, or how does it work?
There are farmers who grow it legally, but as an experimenter, I don't use much. When the legislation is more favorable for this, then it will be possible to develop this in restaurants or elsewhere. For now, it's just working on the recipe.
Please tell me I'm probably not the first one to try this borscht, right? No, unfortunately not.
You bring it, treat guests at any party, and today it's Hemp Borscht.
We had a presentation in Zhytomyr at the Art June Festival. That's exactly where we did the presentation of Borscht, right? Yes. There was a location with different authentic dishes like white borscht and other ancient meals, but I did a presentation of my own signature product, although I used a very old plant, which you could say is in our genes because hemp has been grown and used in our daily life and food for thousands of years.
The ripe hemp seeds give us their energy, their solar strength. Friends, please help yourselves. I invite you to try this wonderful, delicious hemp borscht. I sowed some hemp seeds. There will be some hemp borscht and also some pancakes and potato fritters, all made with hemp for the table.